Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Sister Samia, can you hear me? Can you see the slide? Are the slides visible?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, sir. Slides. Everything is clear. Audio, video. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, we welcome Sister Samia as our co-host and co-teacher for the course and all the participants. Welcome to Understand Quran the Easy Way through Salah. We had our intro session yesterday, and today we shall start with lesson number 1 with a short revision of what we covered yesterday. I also would like to welcome Dr. Hussam, the principal who is with us today. And as I begin, I would like to clarify that the objective of this course is to present a methodology on how to teach the understanding of Quran in an easy and interesting way. It's not about transfer of knowledge, because most of the teachers in this group are probably native Arabic speakers and already know the Arabic. It's more about the methodology on how to deliver the material. So with that said, let me begin our lesson. And today's lesson will cover A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, the meanings thereof, and how do we use these words in our daily life. Some grammar and a learning tip. By the end of lesson number 1, that is by the end of today's lesson, we would have learned 12 words of the Quran which occur with repetition in the Quran almost 7,200 times. Alhamdulillah. It's like charging your cell phone battery. You begin with 0 and day 1 in 45 minutes to reach 7,200. So I'd like to emphasize it's the methodology that in an easy and interesting way we can learn to understand Quran. Yesterday we talked about some guidelines. I'll just briefly reiterate them. There are going to be 2 WhatsApp groups. One is for discussion, in which you can discuss any aspect of the course for which you would like an answer from fellow students or from the staff or your coordinators at Alfalah. I would encourage that please introduce yourself just like Sister Amal did yesterday, and her feedback means a lot to us. We shall accordingly respond to her feedback as well. The course is taught Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11:15 to 12 noon. There's a mistake here in the times because it was picked up from someplace else, but our time is 45 minutes, 11:15 to 12 p.m., 12 noon. There are 20 lessons in the course. We shall cover one lesson at a time. Each lesson comprises 2 parts, A part and B part. The A part would cover the Quranic text, ahadith, the Arabic, and the second part would be Quranic grammar or Arabic grammar. There will be 2 revision classes along the way, a mid quiz and a final quiz. What is required from you? In fact, when I say required from you, required from the students that you teach. It's required that they attend the weekly session, 1. Secondly, they submit a weekly homework, which will be for 3 lessons together. The link will be shared in the group. You just click on the link, a multiple choice questionnaire will appear. You respond to that, submit, and automatically it's submitted. In addition to that, there's a workbook that you can do on a weekly basis and share with us. How to do that will be explained in the group. And finally, we expect each person to recite the Quran at least 5 minutes a day with translation. For new students, this is quite a challenge, but we want to create a habit from day one that just learning the grammar, the translation is not enough. Practice through actual recitation of Quran and through Salah 5 times a day is mandatory. There's going to be a final quiz. The dates will be informed to you. Don't look at the dates provided. We'll provide you the exact dates, inshallah. This is the lesson plan as to what dates and times the lessons will be covered. The date to remember is 22nd July. Around then, we'll have our first quiz. And there will be a break in the month of August, no classes. And around 10th of September, we shall have our final quiz. So let's begin with welcome, Brother Aghyad. Nice to have you. So yesterday we talked about the objectives of the course. I would like to briefly revise them. These are the learning outcomes. If you spend about 15 hours of your precious time, you will end up understanding 50% of the words only in 15 hours. Typically, this course is offered in 20 hours, 1 hour per session. In this particular case, we are cutting short that lesson to 45 minutes. So what are we cutting short? The practice part, which means whenever we learn a new thing, we make the students practice that with us in our presence. So I recommend when you teach the course to your students, make that session 1 hour and not 45 minutes. Not only do we understand the Quran in an easy and interesting way, we understand the entire Salah word for word, and that establishes a link with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know at what point we are talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at what juncture is he talking to us, and wherein do we talk to him. It will become quite clear as we study Surah Al-Fatiha. Next, this course will make our Salah effective. It will increase our khushu, wudu, and our desire for Salah. Again, we will learn the relationship with Quran based on how we bring these ayat that we learn into our daily lives. This course will also strengthen our iman and will enable us to increase our good deeds. Yes, you heard it right. Good deeds. How can that be? In each lesson, we shall come up, or almost in each lesson, there will be a hadith that encourages us to do good deeds. That will build character, inshallah. And finally, we shall learn 100 new sentences in Arabic that will increase our spoken Arabic. So that was what we covered yesterday. And then we talked about what are we required and what is the challenge for us. So if you look at a Mus'haf, which is a printed copy of the Quran, there are approximately 600 pages. Each page has 15 lines. It's like 15 lines on each page, and each line has approximately 9 words. So each page has approximately 130 words. Multiply that by 600, and we get 78,000 as our total words. Now, what's interesting is that many words are repeated in the Quran. So let's look at the repetition. Out of 78,000, there are only 17,000 words that are actually there without repetition. So what I'm saying is, if you learn 17,000 words, you have actually learned 78,000 words of the Quran. Alhamdulillah. So what is the message here? It's easy to understand the words of the Quran because they are repeated so much, so often. Now, 70,000 is also a large number. So what are we going to do? We're going to employ a tool called grammar, when we learn grammar, after learning the rules of grammar, and in particular the rules of sarf, that is the morphology, how the words are constructed, we need to know only 4,500 words based on sarf. Isn't that amazing? So with a little bit of grammar, we don't have to learn 17,000. We have to learn only 4,500 words and their meanings. And this brings us to a new concept that Sister Amal talked about yesterday. We would be learning about root letters, not so much in the first course, but more so in the following courses in level 2, 3, and 4. But just to give you an idea, there are only 1850 root letter words, from which 78,000 words are constructed. So primarily when we focus on root letters, we only need to know the meaning, the basic meaning for only 1850 root letters. Now, what does that mean? Let me give you an example. Multiple words can be made out of this set of root letters. And let me show you a list. And so I expect the students can read this. So if I say alima, allama, ta'allama, ta'lim, alim, alim, allam. What is the very first observation? All these words have something in common. The three letters Ain, Lam, Mim are common to all of these. And interestingly, all of these words carry this meaning of ilm, knowledge, in some way in these words. Alima would mean he knew or he came to know. Allama would mean he taught somebody what he knew. Ta'allama would mean knowing on your own, making an effort to learn yourself. Ta'aleem would mean education. Alim would mean someone who knows. Alim would mean someone who knows in depth. And Alam is somebody who knows a lot. So you get the idea. All these words have something to do with knowledge and how much knowledge or how it is. So Arabic is a unique language in this aspect, that once you focus in on the root letters, you get to understand the meaning of the entire family of words. This is just an introduction, and we'll see how it helps us during the course. So basically 1850 is our target in the courses to come. And so what are we going to do? Just understand, we're going to focus on Surah Al-Fatiha, 6 surahs from the end of the Quran, Azan, Dua, Ruku, Sujood, At-Tahiyyat, Salam on the Prophet, and some du'as. And these words will enable us to learn 232 words which occur in repetition 41,000 times. So these 41,000 times, these words account for 50% of the words in the Quran. Every second word of Quran is from Salah. Now we start our lesson for today. And our lesson for today basically is that we start with understanding these particular words. Typically, I would request the students to recite these words aloud. That's the beginning. So we say, please recite. And one of the students would, or all of them would say, A'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. So the objective is their recitation is practiced. And we tell them before you recite Quran, you're required to recite these words. Let us study what we have just recited in depth. So from now on, the structure would be whenever we are trying to understand an ayah or some words from the Quran or from the Ahadith, we learn them first by reciting the words, then by understanding the word for word meaning of the words. Then we shall go into the running translation. So running translation is different from word for word. Word for word does not give you a sentence meaning, but gives you the meaning of each word. Then you go into the running translation mode. And then finally, after that, we try to find out how these words or how these ayat help us in our daily lives. And by the end of the course, we shall also apply the grammar that we have learned to these words. So what we do? First of all, we listen to this these words.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
And then we go word for word. A'udhu, I seek refuge.
أعوذ بالله.
So actually, there's a better translation. I was talking to Brother Aryad yesterday, and the way A'udhu is understood is in Arabic is that I come in the refuge of, because seeking would imply a different root letter word, a different form of this word. Although seek is one of the meanings to be understood, a better meaning would be the moment I pronounce these words, I am in the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see the difference? I've mentioned this because normally A'udhu is translated as I seek refuge, which is one of the meanings, but a better meaning would be I come in the refuge. That's A'udhu. I come in the refuge. That means immediately I do that. Split second, the moment I say that. Seek would mean I ask, it gets accepted, and then I come in refuge. So it is A'udhu, I come in the protection. I am. The moment I say it, it's a great feeling of satisfaction. So I seek for it is better. The better translation is I come in refuge. And then typically you have, who do you come in refuge from? In and from. So you seek refuge, you become in refuge in Allah from something. So in Allah is billahi. But even before that, it teaches us something that the very first thing we want to do when we start reciting Quran is safety first. Buckle up. What does that mean? Whenever you do anything in life, you want to be safe and secure. If you sit in a car, what is the first thing that you do? Buckle up. That gives you a feeling of safety. If you're on a motorcycle, you put on a helmet, you want protection. If you're in a room and you want protection, you probably bolt the door. So the very first thing we are taught is, I want to be in the protection. So that's the first lesson. Now, billahi, we shall learn that in Arabic, when we see the words together, sometimes they are more than one words together. So we learn how to split the words as we see into actually what they are. So B is a word. We will learn the types of words, and Allah is a word. And B is something that connects. Connects what? Connects verbs and nouns and nouns and nouns and so on. So I seek refuge, Allah, and B is what connects in between. And it would change its meaning when you translate into another language. That's a very interesting concept. We shall cover that in lesson 4 or 5. So over here, I say I seek refuge, or I come in refuge, in protection in Allah. Min means from. Min has many other meanings as well, but we are learning the most fundamental, rudimentary meaning, which means from. So I come in the protection in Allah from someone, from whom? From ash-shaytan. Ash-shaytan is again two parts, al and shaitan. We shall learn a lot of meanings of al. So the very first thing that comes into mind is, yes, Arabic, like in many other languages, the same word can have different meanings based on how they are used in the sentence. So al here means all kinds of, all types, the whole jins, the whole. So we're talking about not one specific shaitan, but all types of shaitan, all kinds, big, small, devious, crooked, whatever the kind may be, big, small, in any way. So shaitan, we'll learn about shaitan today, inshallah, later on. So we want protection in Allah from shaitan. And the plural of shaitan is shayateen. The moment we learn this, we have learned 88 words in the Quran, because these two words combined come in the Quran 88 times. Alhamdulillah. Next, ar-rajim. Now, ar-rajim means one who is rajim. So al, when it is explaining a word before it, so it's explaining a shaitan. What is shaitan? He's ar-rajim. So the translation for al, although it relates to all kinds of shaitan, but they are what? One who are rajim. So our next challenge is rajim. You might have noticed rajim meme over here, and this refers to actually the root letters that we talked about. We shall not discuss this. Before this, I think you also saw shat or noon, and before that you also perhaps saw ain waw the. But we don't discuss this at present. Is for later courses. So shaitan, shayateen, ar-rajim, outcast. Now, how do we understand the meaning of ar-rajim? The outcast, one who is thrown out of the society. We don't want to be close to him. Do you think shaitan is close to Allah? Never. Even if you look at these words, you are close to Allah, a'udhu, and this word is far away from Allah. So one who is far away from Allah is outcast, thrown away, rejected. So the meaning is outcast. Remember that the word rajim comes from rajam. When you go for Hajj, you stone the devil or shaitan. It is the same root letter. So it's like throwing stones to reject somebody. We do that also, meaning he's not suitable to be with you in the society. You throw him out. So rajim is outcast, who don't want to be near him. After studying this, we want to apply this in our daily life. How do we do that? Study we have done, we'll visualize, we'll feel, we'll ask and evaluate. Let's start this exercise. Allah is high up in the sky, but he's actually very close to us. So when we recite these words, we have firm belief that he will respond to us. That's the first thing that we learn from this. Second, we want to know there are basically 4 or 5 areas that we'll discuss. Who is shaitan? And to understand who is shaitan, we need to understand our environment. Insan, or the human being, insan, is right in the middle, and he's connected to his environment in many ways. There's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is angels. There is a shaitan with his team, and there's insan with his nafs or his desires. So we need to strengthen our nafs. We shall learn later about the levels of nafs, the desires, and who is the one who throws in the challenge. It's a shaitan. He whispers within you, in you, someone we cannot see, and we seek help from Allah in order to strengthen our nafs and desire. That's the basic formula. We'll talk about it at great length later on. What's nafs? How does Allah and the angels help? And how is shaitan the enemy? The moment we start reciting Quran, we are told not to say Bismillah, but to say A'udhu Billah. Quran is full of barakah and rahmah. Shaitan wants to take this away from us. So the very first thing is we want shaitan to be out of the picture. So what do? Who's shaitan? He's our biggest and most dangerous enemy. He has a huge experience of going after humankind from day one. So what did he do? He even made Adam alayhi salam slip away. None of us can be smarter than the shaitan. He said he'll attack us from right, left, front, and back. So the first thing is consciousness. Shaitan is always there acting against our interest. Now, what is shaitan? Something we cannot see. We cannot hit him. We cannot kill him. Nor can we convince him to become good. The only solution and the most powerful solution is that we recite A'udhu Billah. And we make that part of life. Whenever we feel shaitan is going to hurt us, not just when we are starting to recite Quran, but in our daily lives, whenever we want to be in protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say A'udhu Billah. Next, why is shaitan outcast? Why is he thrown out? Why is he away from Allah's mercy? It is because he disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants us also to disobey him. So he's desperate, and we need to understand that our goal is that we do not want to disobey Allah. Remember that triangle. Allah, we seek help from. Shaitan, we want to stay away. And nafs, we want to strengthen so we make the right decisions. Each one of us has a shaitan with him, her, continuously attacking us, whispering within us, whether we are in the office, home, market, on the mobile, wherever we are. So we're in a continuous state of war with him. That's what we need to realize. And in the next 3 or 4 lessons, we'll talk more about it. How do we stay away from shaitan? So what do? We talk about safety first. It's a war against shaitan. We shall learn about these words and about 12 habits of a successful person after we complete Surah Al-Fatiha. For now, the important thing is, when we have learned these words, what are these words called? And typically, I see that in Pakistan, we do not pronounce the word correctly. So we want to know these particular words are called ta'awwuz, ta'awwudun, or ta'awwuz. This is important. It's not ta'awuz, it's ta'awwuz. So ta, ain, wow, you stop there, and it's like this. So typically, I ask students to loudly say out these words. Ta'awwuz, ta'awwuz. What's ta'awwuz? Reciting of A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. So now we are towards the end of our first lesson, and we ask the students to repeat these words and translate in running translation. A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. I come in the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from shaitan, the outcast. So this is what are lessons, what we're going to learn in the first part of each lesson. And we end our lesson for today, for the first part, to understand some challenges that we're going to face in understanding Salah. We'll talk about those and the solutions will come later. One, typically we recite very fast in our Salah. We talk too fast. So when we know who we are talking to, we understand that we'll slow down. Secondly, we need to be focused on the person or on the zat, on the entity that we are talking to. We cannot have our mind going right and left. We shall learn how to keep us focused. That's the roaming service. That's what we need to tackle. That's another challenge. The third challenge is we recite without feelings. We're going to learn in this course that there are feelings associated with what we do. Just like we have feelings associated when you talk to somebody in this world. We just don't say them. We say them because we feel them. And finally, we need to focus ourselves with feelings for a purpose. And what that is the purpose? To connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what do we get out of this? We shall learn that in our Salah, we get great news of Jannah time and again. So with that, we'll take if we want to take a short break, maybe half a minute. We have completed the first part of our lesson today. So any quick questions on that? Sister Samia, do you see the slides for 1B?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it's visible.
It's visible?
Yes.
If there are no questions, I move on to lesson 1B. So every lesson is going to have 2 parts, 1A, 1B. 1B is grammar. Typically, when we talk about Arabic grammar, there is a fear that maybe it's something difficult. We shall remove that fear today, inshallah. So what is that fear? What are we going to talk about in this lesson? We're going to talk about 7 words. In English, the equivalent words are he, they, you, I, you all, we, and who. But Let's forget about what these words are. Let's move on to understand how we learn these words. And later on, maybe you can think about why is there this particular tool showing up. We'll talk about it. Must be a reason. So let me start with, if you have ever tried to study Arabic grammar, your teacher will start with something like yu'minun is a word which means they will believe or they believe. And then he will go on to say that this word is from the Arabic morphology aspect, ghaib, jama, mudhakkar, mahmuz, min babi if'al. And nahv, and by the nahwi tarkib, it is fi'l mudare, marfu bi thabut an-nun, لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة والواو ضمير متصل في محل رفع فاعل هل أنتم تفهمون يا هؤلاء. And the class would go silent like this. What just happened? And by the time you go to class number 2 and 3, the students start falling out. Have you had this experience? Eventually they do learn, but very few. So we are not going to use this methodology, but we shall still learn all these words without terminology, without istilahat. So the main difference is we shall not use this way of learning. Secondly, we shall not use the typical Arabic course which starts with Hada Baytun Kabir, Hada Waladun Salihun, Hada Kitabun Jamilun, because these words have no relation to Quran. What we will do? We shall use a methodology that's simple, fun, easy to learn. We call it TPI, total physical interaction. Use all parts of your body, your ears, your eyes, your brain, your voice, your hands, and your heart, and together you do it. So this is the philosophy of the course on how to learn grammar, the easy way. The way is TPI. It's just like using a mobile. If someone asks you to explain to him the directions on how to go someplace, you'll be talking to him on the phone. At the same time, you'll make some signs, go straight, go right, go left, although he can't see you. But it's easy for you to explain. Meaning, if you try to learn making some sign language, it will be easy to learn. So we are going to use this methodology of using our hands for making some signs, and they will map onto our brain and help us understand all the words or most of the words in Arabic. So what are we going to do? We're going to start with our ears. So I want you to do what I'm doing. You say that we shall hear. So here, start with hearing. And next, we shall see. So hear, see, think. Hear, see, think. Then say. You say it with your lips. And next, you show it with your hands. And next, you love it and do it together. So what is it? It's like 7 things together. Hear it, see it, think it, say it, show it, love it, do it together. By love it, I mean from your heart. We're going to repeat this so many times that you will start thinking in these particular ways. It's not just for learning Arabic grammar. You want to learn anything? That's the research method. So what do we do? So repeat after me. Hear it. I don't hear anybody. Hear it. Okay, hear it, see it, think it, say it, show it, love it, do it together. Hear it, see it, think it, say it, show it, love it, do it together. Believe me, it makes a world of difference. Whenever you hear something, you absorb it and you want to see it and think about it. And you say it aloud and then explain it with your hand actions. You love it and you do it together. Alhamdulillah, this is no joke. It's a powerful methodology. Don't let shaitan stop you. Even if you know Arabic, learn it this way. It will help you to teach others. Agreed, this is something to teach. Once they have learned, they don't have to make these signs. But we're about to enter into the world of making signs. And in every class, I see some people who do not want to follow the signs. And they come up with certain excuses. Look, before you, thousands and millions of people have learned Arabic without making signs. Why do you want me to make signs? Let me tell you, when the course ends, those same people come and say, I wish I had started making signs earlier. See, this science actually is brain mapping. It helps you in so many ways I can't even begin to explain. So just believe in me. And now when we make signs, I would like you to follow me. We'll take 6 words. And I want you to understand the philosophy behind this methodology. When we talk in this world, we can only talk or communicate in 3 different ways. Either we talk about someone, he is doing something, or we talk to somebody, you are sitting, or you talk yourself, I am speaking. 3 ways. So the typical way to show these 3 ways will be if I turn my finger and do that on your right side. Can you do that, please? All of you. Parallel to the ground. Parallel, not up, not down, not right, not left, parallel. And this sign means you're talking about someone. And then you move this finger right up here to the person in front of you. And this would mean you're talking to the person in front of you. And then you move the finger towards yourself. And now I'm the one who's speaking. 3 possible ways. Now we move up to our sign language. When I use my right hand, I'm going to be talking about masculine. And whenever I use my left hand, I'm going to be talking about who? Did you guess? Feminine. You knew it already. That's the power of TPI. It also picks, it's like the new word AI you hear. This is AI. I said this is for masculine. You say this is for feminine. I'll tell you 1 finger is for singular. 4 is for plural. And that's it. So whenever I use my right hand with 1 finger, I'm talking about masculine singular. Whenever I use my left hand with, let's say, 4 fingers, I'm talking about feminine plural. Was that too difficult? I guess not. So just using these signs, we're going to learn these 6 words. Typically, in English, I would say he and make the sign. Can you please make the sign? He, meaning we're talking about somebody who is somewhere like beyond the wall or someplace else. He. And then the plural would be they. So repeat, he, they, he, they. Then you go to the person in front, you say you, and then you come to yourself, I. You, I. And now you want to say, talk to all of you in front of you, say you all and we. You all and we. I would like you to actually unmute your mics as we do this exercise in Arabic. So I'm going to say huwa. Repeat after me. Huwa. Huwa means he. Hum means they. Anta means you. Ana means I. Antum means you all. Nahnu means we. So keep repeating. Huwa, hum, anta, ana, antum, nahnu. Huwa, hum, anta, ana, antum, nahnu. Believe me, even if you know Arabic, do this and you will feel something. When we learn new words, they will follow the same pattern. Again, al, huwa, hum, anta, ana, antum, nahnu. I would want you ask your students to repeat this many times when they go back home and memorize it. So how many words have we learned, Brother Aryad? How many words in Arabic?
Now 6 words in this.
6? Actually, not 6. That's the interesting
more
part.
than that, of course.
That's the point. We learned 1295 words of Quran.
MashaAllah.
Because these 6 words occur in the Quran 1295 times. And how long did it take? Probably 1 minute or 2 minutes. Alhamdulillah, so it is successful. 6 words, 1295 times in the Quran. Wasn't that easy and interesting? Every grammar lesson will be like that. Now we move on to using what we have learned. We learn a new word called man. And the meaning for that, one of the meanings is who. Like if I want to know who is your Rabb, I would say man Rabbuka. This will come in the next lesson, inshallah. So we are going to learn man and apply it to a word called Muslim. So what is the plural for Muslim? Is Muslimun. We are going to start slowly. There's a lot of grammar behind this. We'll come to it later on. So let's see. If I say man huwa and make the sign man huwa, what did we just say? Who is he? Man huwa, who is he? And the response would be huwa Muslim. So let me ask you and you respond. Man huwa, respond with signs. All my sisters, I'm expecting that you are responding with the signs of TPI. That's the learning methodology. Man huwa Muslim. Man hum, interesting. Man hum with 4 fingers. The answer is hum Muslimun. Man anta, that's a tricky one. Man anta, the answer is ana Muslim. Man anta, ana Muslim. Man antum, nahnu Muslimun. Alhamdulillah, typically you want to revise this muhadasa or this conversation amongst yourself many times in the class. Have the kids talk to each other. We call it TPS, twin, pair, share. Make groups of 2. Ask them to ask each other. Man anta, and the other one responds, ana Muslim. Man antum, nahnu Muslimun, and so on. So 6 words, alhamdulillah. Now we want to add to our vocabulary a few other words, small words like wow. Wa means and, fa means so or thus, means what. And we apply these adding on to huwa. So wa huwa would mean and he. So typically wa huwa would mean and he. Wa hum would mean and they. Wa anta and you. Wa ana and I. Wa antum and you all. Wa nahnu and we. Simple, easy, just adding on. So when they see a word wa anta, they know it's 2 words, wa and anta. Next, we do the same thing with fa. Fa is the connecting word, which means thus, thereby, then. So fahuwa, thus he. For whom, thus they. For anta, thus you. For ana, thus I. For antum, thus you all. For nahnu, thus we. It's not a perfect translation, I agree, it's Badr Qiyad, but it's the closest one we could come up with. Fa can have many different meanings to connect and even respond. But typically the meaning is to connect, and we're using that meaning. A is for question. Ahua means is he. So ahua is he. Ahum are they. Anta are you. Ana am I. Antum are you all. Anahnu are we. Typical example could be anta Muslim. We'll come to it next in the next lesson perhaps. Are you a Muslim? And we will learn 2 words. Na means yes and la means no. So I can say Naam ana Muslim. We shall learn that later on, inshallah. So we are at the end of our lesson 1. Whenever you see this learning tape, you should know that the lesson is about to end, and I should see a smile on your faces, because the students love when the lesson is about to end. So Brother Riyad is so happy. So the learning tip for today is that no matter how difficult it sounds, you can learn. You have the brain and the power to learn because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a very powerful brain. How powerful is that brain? In your brain, there are about 100 billion cells. Latest research showed me it's not 100 billion, it's perhaps 1 trillion. So 1 trillion cells or neurons in your brain, and each of them has up to 20,000 branches. And each branch is like a tree with these 20,000 branches. It exchanges information with the next 500 times per second. Is shocking. 1 trillion neurons, each has 20,000 branches. Each branch actually does 500 times per second transactions of on-off switches. It's a super computer that you have. So Allah has given you capacity beyond your imagination. Never say you can't learn. We will know how to learn in the next slide, in the next lesson. How would you like if someone calls you dumb? You wouldn't like that. So never listen to shaitan, because whenever someone says Quran is difficult to learn, that's shaitan. So you don't want to be dumb. You have a very powerful brain. Just say A'udhu Billah and move on. Alhamdulillah, we just completed our first lesson. Was it easy? We learned 12 words. These occur with repetition over 7,000 times in the Quran. Alhamdulillah, we are one step up. So I would like if someone has some feedback. Brother, yeah, do you think it was easy for, it would be easy for students to understand?
Yes, it's true. It is very easy and very simple. Jazakallahu khairan. And really, I enjoyed it.
Welcome. You know, it gives me so much pleasure when you say that. When I see your smile, I feel like, that's the best thing of the day. Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallahu khairan.
No wonder they call smile is a charity. It's a sadaqah. It makes the other person's life so much good. You smile at somebody, you have given him something no amount of money can give.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
So any of the sisters want to say anything?
Jazakumullahu khair.
Thank you, sisters, and thank you, Sister Amal had some very nice comments, and I did explain some of the root letter concepts. We'll come to that later on. Jazakallahu khaira. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Please share your thoughts and your feelings on the group.
Inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Todo di condizione